such an asshole.
What's the deal with all these women pilots? They're pilots, Jerry, pilots. All right. I have not been paying attention to this, but now it has crept into the realm of asshole consulting, where if you have questions, I have answers, as long as you got money, at assholeconsulting.com, where I answer questions a lot like this. Cappy, am I wrong in thinking death is good or bad? Hey, Cap, I'm a longtime listener to your channel since 2013. I just thought, in light of what's been happening in aviation, a video on this could be a big hit and resonate with a lot of men and people, really, who are too afraid to speak up about this. I don't know. Well, I'll give you my, no one's going to be happy with my answer. Let's just put it that way. Too afraid to speak up about this. I see a lot of airline pilots and pilots making videos about these accidents, breaking down what actually happened, technically poor radio calls, off altitude, etc. in these accidents. Wasn't there if I recall correctly, there was a gal doing like TikTok videos in the plane and she was learning to fly and that her and her instructor crashed? Isn't that last year? It's coming to me now. Trump talked about DEI, got a lot of flack for it. Yeah, but by people who are DEI hires. But I feel like a lot of people know what the underlying cause of some of these near misses and accidents are, but are afraid of losing their jobs as losing career opportunities to speak up about it, including myself. I'm currently a pilot doing a thing. And I see a lot of problems with women being pilots, but of course I can't say anything even after 60 people were killed from it, or I'll basically be labeled a misogynist and admonished from ever getting a job and moving forward in my career. For instance, a place I know, there have been 3 fatal accidents involving 3 female flight instructors. This recent DC crash involved a young female pilot of the Black Hawk who hadn't flown in 2 years because she had volunteered as a White House aide for the Biden administration. I'll tell you this, if I'm a helicopter pilot, I ain't going anywhere else. That's like peak job. What do you want to do? I feel like flying a helicopter today. Again, but you did that yesterday. I know. It's like redheads with big tits. I don't think I'll get sick of it. You want to go work for the president? No, I want to fly helicopters. I want to be a helicopter pilot. Hey, kid, your little 3-year-old boy playing with the red fire truck. Hey, the reverend from the church down the street is there. Okay. We're playing with my fire truck. And it's basically getting a flight review done. Basically, from what we have seen and experienced, is that DEI and affirmative action is a much bigger problem than it may seem for a lot of people, especially boomers. They've really cast this brutally onto the millennials and Gen Z. I've seen it through my whole professional life. I was in the military for an amount of time, and man, it was very prevalent there. And if you had a problem, you were dead. Yes. Hopefully we will begin. Look, female pilot era or not, our female pilot, DEI is sexism and racism. It's isms for whatever trait you want to look at. It is not good for the country. It's not good for the people, and it's wrong. You don't have to convince me of that. I just don't get it. Women are just not as good pilots as men. Like there, I said it. I've trained a few at a flight school, and they take significantly more hours and burn more of their money than men. Yes, they can do it, but they're not as good. So why in such a safety critical industry are putting them in the cockpit? Because of women's feelings. I will agree with you on some of this, but in this particular case is because feelings in the United States is more important than reality right now. That's how spoiled of a nation we are. Right? Feelings above everything else. And there are consequences to that. I mean, I know it's disproportionately female dominated. It would be evidence in your argument, but look at what's happened to video games and movies right now. It has been turned into an abomination. They are horrible. And truth be told, disproportionately influenced by women, whether that's Kathleen Kennedy, the directors and all that, girl boss horseshit. That I'd say it's more leftism than it is women. But yes, there is evidence adding up that when we throw DEI people into it, it brings about an interesting question. Okay, fine, you throw DEI people into it. What if they weren't allowed to do DEI shit though, right? Well, okay, fine, you're a DEI hire, but you can't talk about the fact that whatever, you're a black woman. You actually have to go make a movie, all right? But they just can't help themselves because they're ideologues and they're blinded by their trait-based ideology. So, but you're not wrong. The circumstantial evidence and the anecdotal evidence is starting to add up really quick. You're like, hey, ladies, and I've said this before, ladies, you better all start finding. I said maybe you should start hiring Republican women or conservative women, or just not Democrat, leftist, activist women. Because what's her name? Kathleen Kennedy and not Lindsay Lohan. Whoever is in charge of the acolyte, you're all making women look real bad. You're not helping out the female cause here. Like sure, a monkey can ride be trained to ride a bicycle, but they're going to take more time and learn, and it's just not as practical to have monkeys learn how to ride bicycles. Putting women in cockpit over men who can do it better and cheaper costs and have longer careers. I know some female flight instructors who spend all this money on their flight training, only become an airline pilot a year or two and then quit. Oh yeah, no, that also happens in medicine. You become doctors and they work part-time. Either because they don't like it or they have kids. So there you go. In the Air Force, they spend millions on training women to be pilots, only to have them quit because they get pregnant. Women in the Air Force aren't upheld to fulfill their 10-year contracts as pilots if they become pregnant. Look at the organizations in the aviation community: Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, Women in Aviation International, Professional Asian Pilot Association, Latino Pilots Association, Sisters of the Skies, Professional Women Controllers, National Gay Pilots Association. It's overkill. Look, yeah, different groups of people could form different associations and guilds, and that's fine. Go ahead, but I'd be like, I don't give a fuck that you're whatever. You're the Latino Pilots Association. I guess, I suppose. I don't know if I was I actually have a couple pilot friends. It's a job. Yeah, it seems sexy and fun, but at the end of the day, you're just flying an aluminum bus through the sky with wings, and it's boring. I didn't join the Economist Guild Association of America. I didn't, because I didn't want to do any more work at the end of the day. List goes on even further. It's insanity. DEI is more damaging than people realize, and it's everywhere. I feel like even when a Trump admin is not going away anytime soon as possible, including myself, are afraid to speak up even if it kills people. We're afraid of losing our jobs. That's why we need assholes like you to make YouTube videos for a living. Help us, Cappy. I'll keep you anonymous. And then you sent another thing, just an idea. Maybe you can name it something along the lines of DEI. Will it ever go away? No, I like the, what's the deal with all the female pilots? Jerry, you can't say that now. My theory, I think it is here to stay for quite some time. DEI seems to be really, really golden goose, baby boomers and zoomers. I predict more accidents and tragedies. I think we'll go down such a censored feminist dystopia that there will be a plane with 200 go down to a DEI hire and still nobody will speak about it. Okay, let me answer it, because it's just taking forever for you to get to your point. We have to balance people's rights. If you want, go watch my video, The Supremacy of the Individual, versus people's rights versus reality and safety in this particular case, right? I do not want to begrudge anyone, female or not, Jewish or not, black or not, it doesn't matter. If someone can do the job, which is why you should have objective testing, if they can do the job, I want to be able to do it. Okay? I do not want to take away anyone's rights. I don't want to ban anyone based on traits they were born with. It should all be competency based. So you can't just take a blanket and say women are bad pilots. All right. Because there's a human being that might actually be a good pilot. And that human being is going to suffer actually quite tremendously if they're told they can't do it. I remember people telling me I couldn't do things. And I remember Dane Rauscher, which is now owned by Royal Bank of Canada. Like, well, if you were black, we could help you. And I didn't know enough not to bring an immediate fucking lawsuit against them. But neither here nor there. It's all in the past now. It sucks. It sucks. I'm sure you saw it in the military, or you saw it at work where, a girl has 2 years experience, or you happen to be the right skin color. You're promoted to Lieutenant Ladasha. Absolute bullshit. That should not happen. At the same time, though, what if Ladasha was the best person for that promotion or whatever? And this is people's future lives. You can't say, well, the way you were born, and you can't do that. Right? At the same time, we have to weigh this against reality. Right? Can you do the job? I don't give a shit if it hurts your fucking feelings. And that's what DEI is. We're hurting disproportionately, though not solely relegated to liberal white women's feelings. Oh my God, I know I'm being a little bit facetious, but not by far. We are throwing this country away and ruining our economy and our culture because some liberal white woman might be offended somewhere in Marin County. I think there is a pushback with that, with Trump and all that. But you're right. We have to talk seriously about the capabilities of whatever group of people it is. In this case, it happens to be women. And say, well, wait, hold it here. Can you fly the plane as good as men? It's one, look, if Disney wants to waste billions of dollars on woke feminist, anti-male, anti-American propagandist horseshit, okay, you're not really hurting anyone but yourself. But public safety matters, cops, firefighters, geez. And again, it's anecdotal evidence. But hey, look at that fire job you kids did there in LA. Who are your fire chiefs again? The best, right? You hired the best. When there's serious consequences for not having the best people there, doctors, surgeons, that kind of thing. Now we got some problems because innocent people are being killed. And it's a tragedy either way. I'm not happy the young lady pilot died and the other people, I guess, on board the Black Hawk. You know who I'm also not happy that died? The 60 fucking people on the plane. And I think all their family members are also probably unhappy those 60 people are dead. I'm sure the LA's finest, richest, most sanctimonious asshole liberals are a little upset that their houses got burned and torched. And when it comes to safety and other people's lives, Americans do not have the right to feel good when it comes at the expense of other Americans' lives or livelihood, your entire house going up in flames. And this is where I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. We're in a democracy. You guys could figure it out. Americans have voted for the past 10-ish, 15 years that feelings are more important than reality. Feelings are maybe increasingly becoming more important than lives. And we'll pay the price for it. Ask all the women up in Sweden what it's like being in, what was the neighborhood? That doesn't matter. Felt good to vote Democrat, right? Felt real good. Some doesn't feel good though. The consequences of your voting. Anyway, you can vote the way you want. You're 100% right. God dang it! What the hell was it? Let me go to my notes here. Let me get I thought I had it. Oh. Regardless of people's feelings, if we're going to do this, we will pay the price. And inevitably, the cost will become so high that people might say, oh my God, fuck your feelings. We're dying over here. All right. I would say if we shouldn't wait till we get to that point. Like, no, you're wrong. Whether it's firemen or police or pilots or whatever, captains of ships, it should be the best person. But we need to get to that level and that point. You're right. I have no problem saying that because people's lives are literally on the line now. That being said, before we start saying, hey, that group of people over there, we got to figure out first, is it true? And this is where everyone's going to be like, oh, can't be. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to be factual. All right. What we need to do is have the spirit of Fred, the ghost of Fred, come back and do an actuarial analysis. So we'd have to do a legit one. And we'd have to say, okay, do women make worse pilots? A statistical analysis, unbiased. No, the Democrat Party's not in charge of it. No, the Republican Party's not in charge of it. We go get some actuaries, maybe probably from an insurance field or something like that. We say, hey, like, I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but back in the day, boys had to pay higher insurance premiums because boys were more reckless with their driving, right? That's why you had to pay more. And I think that's illegal now. But they did the actuarial study for that. Let's do it for women too, for pilots. And then, and then we'll find out. Oh, yeah, women, for whatever reason, maybe they don't have the eye-to-hand coordination or the speed at which they move, or whatever it is, we find out the biophysiological entity of a woman is less capable of being a pilot than men. But then we better also have the ability to say, however, there's a Bell distribution curve among women. And where some women, or what would the statistical thing be? Most women as a whole make lesser pilots than men. There are some women who still make some pretty good pilots, right? Which is why we had it, guys. We had it in the 80s. We had it in the 90s. It is like almost, we got the right amount. Like, you're all allowed to apply, but we have some objective standards that you must meet. And if you don't meet them, you don't get to whatever, fly, become a fireman, become a cop, pilot a ship, whatever's very important. And yet that needs to not only be brought back, it needs to be enforced by law, especially in some industries. Again, if you want to be BioWare and have a bunch of women writing your stories, and as well as trans, I guess, trans, not real trans people, the fake ones who are straight kids from the suburbs who want to be edgy and cool and popular. If you want to fucking just piss away your shareholders' money, go right the fuck ahead. But if we're talking like the trains, yeah, hauling chemicals, yes. And here's where it's beautiful. The whole discussion of traits, all the different traits, whether it's your sexual preference or your race or females, whatever, it all goes away. Here's the standard. We need you to score this level of mathematical aptitude to manage the train railway system because we're hauling dangerous chemicals and innocent lives are on the line. Air traffic controllers. I don't give a shit if it's all straight white men we hire. They're the ones that tested the best. And all you fucking Karens can go shut the fuck up and roll over in a grave because there's thousands of people's lives every day relying on that. Just as through whatever statistical oddity, you get all, I'm trying to think, obscure wheelchair-bound gay Latinos. And they're like, wow, we tested thousands of people for air traffic control, and 20 of these guys in this area in wheelchairs have to be Latinos and gay. They're the best. And they're in that air traffic control. We had to put in some ramps, but they're there, and they haven't had a crash in years. It's other Karen's, listen, all you women in Michigan, because your governor and your DA are like the epitomal hate-filled feminist Karens. Your feelings are not more important than everyone else's lives. There you go. There it is. And I don't know. It's kind of exhausting to me where meritocracy, especially when it comes to systems or entities or professions where other people's lives are on the line, there's no debate. None. It's merit. Merit doesn't discriminate again. Doesn't say, are you black? Are you female? You can't do this. It says, here's the test. Can you pass it? That's what we got to go back to, because that's fair. It's just, it's right. And it's what's best for society. As to whether we actually do, it's a real interesting question we pose to society. Is it more important that we feel good about something white Karens or not, than actually be good at something? Are our feelings more important than the lives of people? That is the choice we get to make. I know where I stand, and I'm very emphatic about different people having the different right and ability to do what they want. If they can do it. But if you can't do it, you can't do it. And knock it off with this mentally ill, psychopathic bullshit where, oh, okay, we got to put this type of people into that type of position because feelings. Fine. If you want to do that in theater, go ahead. You want to do that, I don't know, at a restaurant, fine. Not pilots. Now, it should be figured out. And what we really need to do is we do need to get actuaries in and say, okay, for these key, critical, life-threatening, life-dependent professions, trade skills, you could, I guess you could go through and do an actuarial study to see if different groups of people have different aptitudes or weaknesses for those fields. I would almost say it's irrelevant. You just set an objective standard, and whoever passes it, passes it. And I'm sorry if that means all your doctors are male, Asian, white dudes, so be it. Okay, if that means all your fighter pilots happen to look like Dolph Lundgren, okay. And and there might be some. Well, there will be. I mean, inevitably there will be different people of different races and all that, different genders, and that's fine because they passed the fucking test. But no, you're not insane. And I don't know. After an investigation, if we find out, yeah, it was affirmative action hire, blah 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 blah. What is it, Boeing? They're wondering if that. And I don't want. Here's the other thing: we're talking about safety. We can't just say like, oh yeah, they hired a bunch of affirmative action. Whoa, look, planes are falling out of the sky. We really got to know we got to diagnose this one correctly. You can't let your politics blind you on this. And yeah, if it turns out that this was because a biological thing about females and it just led to a crash, or perhaps she was passed on, promoted way too quickly, we find out that, okay, well, then we should change those policies. But in the meantime, it's really fascinating to see, we get to self-govern, like we as a nation, like, oh yeah, fuck, throw safety out because we want this to be the result. Throw the quality of movies out because we want that to be the result. And then you get to figure out, okay, do I want to be in a country like that? Do I want to rely on people like that? To me, though, it seems so common sense. Can you do the job? You can. There you go. What's more morbidly fascinating is how much Americans will vote to feel good at the expense of their own life and safety and threat. And this isn't to say women make bad policies, shouldn't be pilots or anything like that. Investigation should be like, but it's more of a question for Americans to face if you have to be Democrat, leftist, or for affirmative action and DEI. It's like, look, these are very nice luxury beliefs you have, okay, but they're starting to cost people seriously here, right? And so maybe you want to reevaluate that, or maybe not. We'll find out how the elections go in the future. We'll figure it out. We'll see what policies are implemented. But buddy, what I would do, I wouldn't get worked up about it. These are not our problems. Not our problem. Oh, but Cappy, if I fly, okay, yeah, I understand that. But you can say, what's the fire chief look like? Is it a piss off grizzled dude? Okay, I'm going to go over and live in this town. Oh, the next one over has the person with weird eyes, and you just looking like you're overweight and you're not. See, you got promoted based on whatever gender traits that aren't germane to firefighting. Don't live in that area. Don't buy a house in that area. But I don't know. It gets to the point where, like, really, we're going to do this, huh? We're going to throw aptitude and ability out because you psychopaths have this idea of quotas in your mind. What if women don't? What was that again about the doctors and the pilots? The women all like decide to get pregnant and have kids? Oh, amazing. I wonder if they have a preference for a certain lifestyle, But I don't know. Maybe to take the edge off from your perspective and be a little bit less agitated about it. yeah, I know it might affect you. A train might spill over because we promoted the wrong person based on a trait, not their content of character. You're not going to be able to handle it. But man, I just don't. Hey, you guys want to do this? Go ahead. I've checked out a long time ago. I'm not going. A perfect example, I think this would be the most common, is where a lot of people are just checking out of corporate America. Like, I'm not gonna buck for CEO. You got to give it to some lesbian, gay, Latina, or something like that. You just no. I'm not, because it's not America. Why would I bust my ass off? There are consequences. You're seeing it. Labor force participation rate, men just kind of dropping on. Like, nah, I'm not doing self-employment, consulting gigs on the side. Um, decrease in corporate profits, tanking stock prices. Let people have their experiment with this. You see how far a society and a country can get by saying, we're going to start promoting left-handed people over right-handed people. Like, okay, have fun with that. Let us know how that goes. The left-handed superior, no, the left-handed supremacy. The left-handed, the born ultimatum, the born supremacy. The left-handed supremacy. But yeah, it's just, are you Boeing that lost all billions of dollars in market cap? Are you now the one under investigation? Just let it be, man. And then you can make your choices. Hey, I'm gonna go fly. If you're really concerned about it, and there's a female pilot, and she's been promoted through the ranks, and she does not have the skills, you don't have to go fly with her. No, I'm not flying with her. Why not? I'm like, I don't trust her flying ability. Well, okay, you could fire me, but there's going to be a lawsuit. Maybe that's something you could also do. I mean, there are lawsuits being filed against companies for DEI. That's a great start. It's a great start. We could fight back that way. But in general, yes, this happens to be a female pilot. She happened to crash. Let us not go to the other extreme and say all female pilots are bad. It's not even reason or a compromised position. It's an empirical position. Can people do the job? That's it. And I think as time goes on, especially in media, because media is so public, you're going to see like, oh yeah, just because we add vagina doesn't make it good. Oh, it's got Brie Larson in it. Great. Yeah. I'm gonna go watch Escape from New York. All right, we got any super chats? Joe Bud, $2. Should female firefighters exist? Yeah, if they could pass the test, and not their handicap test. Can you carry a fucking body out of the burning fire? I don't even think I can. I'm not that big of a guy. That cast in here, $2. Ladash should be flying. Don't be hating too. Okay, then there'll be enough. Look, when there's enough crash planes and we find out it is because of affirmative action, and we've been promoting people who are underqualified or unqualified to fly, then maybe if enough people start losing family members, maybe we'll know, okay. You think the Democrats over in LA who all lost their houses, you think they're starting to rethink their politics a little bit? Also think of this, how insane it is to say we are going to promote people based on traits they were born with no regard to their ability. How do you argue with that? That's not a sensible. It wasn't a reasonable way they got to that conclusion, and there was a slight flaw in their logic. You're a fucking moron. You're ideologically committed to that, and there's no reasoning you out of that. And I just can't get all that excited. Like, oh, okay, so you promoted a bunch of women to whatever this, and now you're surprised that. I'm not even going to bother arguing with you. You're going to promote people based on traits and not their ability. That's an insane, irrational opinion or position to have. And I'm not even going to waste my time with this. It's the same thing as like big is beautiful and you're sexist if you don't want to fuck fat women. Like, I'm not even, yeah, go ahead with it. Yeah, keep going. Make some more Dove commercials while you're at it. You go put fat chicks next to the ads and you tell us how that works out. I don't know. I'd like you to get to my level of zen where you're not as agitated, It's like, oh, that happened? Interesting. It's almost a macabre sense of entertainment where, wow, you're literally going to put your lives at, you're okay losing lives or losing houses or whatever it is because you won't. Well, there was that gal. Husband got stabbed, happened to be by a black guy at a bus stop at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. in New York. She wouldn't report the make a model of the car of the bus. I was going to make a model of the bus. The race of the guy because he happened to be black. The guy killed her husband. I find that fascinating. I'm like, wow, you really love this socialism shit, don't you? Decimated 550, $5. Chick pilot had bigger smile than a happy kid. And good. I hope she's happy. Thought she was brilliant at everything, but didn't keep pilot skills sharp. Too much extracurricular. Well, it looked like she was going up for a recertification flight. See, this is why I can't comment on it. I'm sure there's process and procedures. Go ahead. Well, she was a really good pilot, and we find out there was equipment malfunction. That's not fair to her. But yeah, you're starting to look around. You're starting to see patterns of like, this isn't good. This is maybe we ought to stop what we're doing and do some research before there's any more problems. Why do you hate women? Never mind. Cyberbully, $5. DEI militaries trickle down to the defense contractor industry. The newer defense sector companies are run by ex-female pilots and the like. Yeah, I mean, it's fine by me. Look, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's promote. Let's do what the dude bros did from like, say, the 50s to about the aughts, up until the big housing bubble. You promote your bros, right? It's the same thing. It's the same. It's discrimination, just a different type. You didn't hire the best. You promoted all your blue blood, dick-sucking, connected Ivy League assholes over in finance and fintech. More recently, there's a second bubble that burst. Let's do it. Let's do it. Nepotism, cronyism, racism, sexism, bigotry, all promote everyone based on how they were born or who they know. Don't go back to meritocracy whatsoever. Let me know how that works for you. I am personally done trying to piss into the hurricane and yell into the tornado for you people to stop it. It's not, and a lot of it is I'm going to die in about 30 years. And I don't have kids, so I don't give a fuck. A country that is so stupid, a people that is so stupid that you worship traits you were born with. Again, let's get the left-handed brown-eyed people cult going on. And that's how it's not what that's fine. I don't care about the human race then. Go do your fucking thing. I'm done. Nelson Rivera, $5. I'll top your Escape from New York with Big Trouble in Little China. That is a horrible movie. It is overrated. It is like Scrooged. You're all weird and you're all wrong thinking those are good movies. That is a painful movie. And that is not on Kurt Russell's. He's never filmed that. That never happened. Soldier. It's a good movie. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.